Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I want to be looking at this white area here in the very south of Spain, the very south coast, kind of close-ish to Malaga, which originally, looking at the satellite view footage, I thought to be a deserty kind of area, but by zooming in I realized these are all fields. And then I put the little man down and I realized, well, these are all tents. And then I had to Google a little bit, and I found out these are all greenhouses. This is a very, very big, 20,000 hectare big area of greenhouses. If you don't know what hectare means, I can give you some kilometers. This spans over 30 kilometers in width, and I would say around 13 kilometers from the sea to the mountains here, and also surrounding areas start to be looking very similar. Now, I learned that in 1963 the first greenhouse was built here. One. Today it looks very different. This area is also nicknamed Sea of Plastic, or even better, Europe's dirty little secret. I can tell you a little bit about it. Well, this practice of greenhousing that relies on a wooden or metal construction and not using glass but using polyethylene, some kind of plastic, was developed many years ago and really came to a common practice here before it had already been used in Catalonia and the Canary Islands. And it turns out that if you use polyethylene, let's just call it plastic, you can ripe fruits and veggies quicker, so you can harvest quicker, so you can harvest more often in a year. And what's mainly harvested here is tomatoes, cucumbers, melons, peppers, 2.5 to 3.5 million tons. I didn't find out how exact these numbers are. It might be more by today, since it's constantly expanding still. Now, of course, this is your cheap Spanish tomato in the supermarket that's made here. I know a lot of people buy more organic stuff, and rightly so. Not this, tasteless nonsense from down here, but this is where it comes from. This is where Spanish tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, melons and whatnot are being made. There are many companies operating here alongside one another, and mainly migrant, many of them illegally working here, being constantly exposed to toxic pesticides, polluted water, and just generally the heat. In these plastic tents, the heat unbearable. Obviously this area has been criticized by NGOs and other institutions alike. On one hand, because of the plastic pollution, it is said that 30,000 tons of plastic are being produced here every year. Some of them find their way to the Mediterranean Sea, which is just nearby. And but also because of workers' rights, also because of this very unsustainable way of doing agriculture, which I read changes a little bit by some companies. They're trying not to use the synthetic pesticides and trying to do it more organic, but I guess the problem is they would only do it if it capitalizes for them and if it could be as efficient as using the synthetic methods, which I think is a capitalist process that is that needs to change. These veggies and fruits from here go mainly to Germany, to France, to other main European countries. And so there's a network of an economical network kept alive, where if you want to change something, you have to make it as lucrative and involve all the parties involved. What else can I tell you about it? I think these are the main information, and I would like to go in there now and see what it's like. Maybe use a couple of different spots from this area. For example, here at the edge of the town El Ejido, that kind of lays in the middle of it, How does it look between the edge of town and the beginning of the greenhouses? You have a very sharp separation here, you know. This is the last street of the town, and if you go down here, endless amount of greenhouses, and these kind of vacant, polluted little spots or lots you find every now and then. And overall, it looks very crazy for the eye, you know. It's very white, blue sky, the mountains in the distance, and you can drive a whole day through these fields without having seen each and every one of the tents, and if someone is still living here. But it's crazy. It's a very crazy area. Big for the economy, of course, but not very good for the nature, nor, in my experience, for the taste of these fruits and veggies. But maybe it's just due to knowing where they come from. Otherwise, here by the sea, you can have a look there, because I saw that there's a new bike path, which I don't know if it's supposed to become a site of tourism, or is already. Beautiful Mediterranean Sea, Morocco in the far distance, and to the right side, just endless fields and tents. Quite interesting place, that is for sure, especially because you can see it from the top down satellite view, and it's really massive. And yeah, it's just one of these places that if any reasonable thinking person could choose, would decide it shouldn't exist, you know. Is there no other way to make agricultural somewhat more sustainable? The problem is the scale, you know. If you want tomatoes for that every European has access to tomatoes, I guess on one hand you need a very large scale operation, or you need to completely localize it, which would cost a whole lot of more money. Or I guess my preferred approach would be to say, well, okay, not everyone needs a watermelon, not everyone needs tomatoes throughout the whole year. Obviously in Spain you can locally build something, you know, maybe in your garden or in your local town, but not in the Northern Europe, not in the Eastern Europe, not in Central Europe, where it's not the weather all the year. And yeah, it's a really interesting place that looks like a giant maze without being clear where exactly is the company situated here, you know, where exactly here we have a tourist or a worker, where exactly are the headquarters here, who is running what. Is like a network of farming that is very hard to turn around or turn into something more sustainable, or at least prevent some kind of further pollution. I mean, look at these places here. This is just kind of what happens when you do such a big scale operation, and plastic is left over, rubbish is left over, there's no kind of control in place, it's kind of left to itself. And this footage is from 2023, this is not 10 years old, this is how it looks now, I would say, more or less. You have some water basins, I guess that I need to water the different plants. Yeah, really crazy place. And this, I mean, all of this is, as far as I can tell, publicly accessible, You can just drive through here with the car, and, people that live around here will know this area all too good, and I would like to know what they think about it. Maybe there are newspaper articles about it, because I guess on one hand, this creates a lot of jobs, as it always is. Also, for example, I was thinking about, fast fashion, and how these, this is produced in like some low-paid, non-human rights kind of places in perhaps Southeast Asia. So it creates a lot of jobs, but under which conditions? You know, it becomes a very vicious cycle, and someone needs to step in and interrupt the cycle and be like, hey, okay, we're going to improve the situation, we're going to improve how sustainable it is, we're going to improve the rights for the people, without stopping it altogether, because, like, you know, here a lot of people would lose their jobs. I mean, this would be the first effect, and maybe you can say, well, that's normal because, you know, it cannot continue like this, but at the same time, if it costs jobs, who's gonna touch it? This has just grown kind of unsupervised for too long. It's always on the tents written to whom they belong, sometimes at least. Here actually we are a little bit on a hill. Very foggy conditions here. Some trees. I don't know what's the value of them, other than hiding the tents behind them. Yeah, so it's a very interesting place. I'm not sure what the workers exactly do, or if it's kind of just all automated, but I guess you would need still some people to harvest it manually and then carry it from A to B and pack it, but it looks almost like a military base in some parts, and yeah, it just doesn't look like something that should really exist in a way it does. I mean, it destroys every idea you had about romantic farming. And yeah, in a way, yeah, you can have a look inside what it looks in these greenhouses. Currently nothing growing in here as far as I can tell, but the heat in these places in summer. This is also, by the way, I should mention, is official Google Street View footage. You know, almost like as well, I guess Google just does it, but I mean, almost like an invitation. Yeah, come and they're fixing the tents. It's just horrendous. I mean, where do these people live? You know, all these thousands of workers that come here, maybe have a job, which maybe is good, but then, you know, what kind of job? You know, you start to make people dependent in an industry that shouldn't exist the way it does. You know, it shouldn't exist for the climate. It shouldn't exist for the rights of the people, for the conditions they are working in. Yeah, this is the town now, El Ejido. Kind of cozy Spanish town, but somehow probably very much influenced by this area. I mean, I'm sure there are some logistical companies here and whatnot. Kind of I think it's too much to say that this town is the epicenter, you know, the heart of this whole operation. But if you think about it, in every direction you go, you have to pass kilometers of these fields, and it spans to every area available, every flat land in every direction. And it's a truly, unique place. That's for sure. I mean, look at here. This is a very, very big area already in itself, and yeah, this is indeed just desert. Yeah, so this just came to my mind. Have a look yourself. Maybe you'll find something in this giant maze that is interesting. Here, these kind of water basins, I don't think they're very natural at all. And yeah, big farming, so that someone in Berlin can have a cheap tomato throughout the whole year. Yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I see you for the next video. Bye bye.